Hello, and thank you for tuning in to Nespoli is Dropping Names, where some names you may recognize, others you may not. I have discussions with fellow skydivers, stunt people, actors, and ordinary people from all walks of life. We discuss everything and anything, with the exception, of course, of politics and religion. My hopes is to entertain and to motivate others. And if you like what you hear, then please hit the like and share button. It encourages me to put out more content like this. I'm also open to your comments and suggestions, both positive and negative, for things that you would like to see and hear on future podcasts. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my next guest, who you may not know by name, but you've definitely seen a lot of his work. He has a long list of credits to his name as a stunt person, an actor, stunt driver, and most recently, the lead stunt double on the hit show The Mandalorian and the book of Boba Fett. Did I say that right? Mr. Eyad Elbitar.
You did great. Yeah. Thank you.
It is. It's Boba Fett. I mean, I was a Star Wars fan years ago, but I kind of lost it once, you know, they started to get into like different episodes. And I know that this was something different or unknown to you as well. I know we had tried this on we were having technical problems on the other broadcast, but you actually thought it was, what was the name of the
I
show?
don't know. It was like Star. I don't know. I never knew the difference. Star Trek, Star Wars.
Yeah,
I mean, you know what it is, but I've never looked at the details. Never got any names. I didn't. Yeah,
right,
it was
right.
always like something. I never like watched a full movie but it was everywhere, so you couldn't ignore it.
Yeah.
So you know, it was something.
A lot of stunt people, like, I hate to admit it, but I don't, watch a lot of TV or movies. I love the making of it, but how are you with that? Do you see a lot of movies with the wife
Zero,
or zero?
zero. I don't even have any cables, apps. I need that I don't have Disney Plus. I don't have Netflix. I don't have any subscription for any of those networks. Zero.
You you sure that you want your boss Disney to hear that
The
you don't
what?
have Disney Plus?
Well, because that show is in Disney Plus, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like I've never like seen it honestly.
Right.
I just didn't. I just don't have a desire for it. Uh,
Yeah.
I just yeah. I can't like to sit for 5 minutes and watch something and just walk away.
And you know what? A lot of actors, um, De Niro always says he never watches his, movies, or Al Pacino, they love making it,
Yeah.
but so it's not weird. Um, but
Well, big part of it too, like at the very beginning, you remember we got in the business around the same time.
yes,
And it was kind of exciting, like, hey, like I want to see myself or whatever it is.
yeah,
But it was just at some point it's just like, okay. And it's just it was I'm always critical of myself.
yeah,
I've never thought like even if like when I watch myself, I'm always like, oh, that didn't look good. And
right,
it messed me up. Like I never was happy because you see it and I analyze it too much.
yeah,
And my like when we ever watch a movie with my wife, something, and I'll rewind and go back, and I was like, "Stop! We're watching the movie." It's like, wait, I want to see
right,
how
yeah,
had that happen. How did he fall? It's like you analyze it. So I kind of like it become too critical for me. Like, no, I don't want to even see it because it makes me you think too much
yeah.
or judge
Even
it.
even with your acting or with your action, because your action, I mean, you've done some,
Everything,
yeah, everything,
everything. Because I always say, I think it could have went bigger, could have trend. How come I didn't turn late? Oh, I'm not. So it's never satisfying. So, oh, it looks too slow. I thought I was going faster.
right.
Just stuff like that.
Well, let me go to the beginning, because you are not a trained actor. You're a kickboxer.
Yeah,
And at the time that you and I met was a long time ago. You were at Gold's Gym, personal trainer.
yeah,
Um, and at that time, um, Van Damme was like the big action hero. A lot of people always said, and myself, that you resembled him, and we had spoken about that. You were up for your job, I think. You want to elaborate on that?
well, it started when I met you first at the gym, because at the time when I met you at the gym, yeah, this is the time when I was watching movies, and you watch, Jean-Claude Van, all his fight movies, all that stuff, whatever, whatever, First Blood or something,
Blood Sport, I think it
Blood
was.
Sport, whatever it is, and
Yeah, yeah,
and this is something like because we're fighters, and and up to that time, since I met you, I did not even know there's such a thing as a stunt double. I did
right.
not even know. And when I met you, and you mentioned that we had this conversation, we were talking at the gym,
Yeah,
and you say you could be a good double for him. Like, what do you mean? And you mentioned that you actually have a possible commercial. Remember
yep, yep,
that for I think it was for AT&T, or he was gonna be repelling from a building, and he said, "How is he repelling?" I'm like, and he said, "I can teach you, and
right.
to get that, you can double him for me for this one." I said, "Let's do it."
Yeah,
And we went out, me and you, for a few
I
times,
remember
and
that.
learning how to repel and all that stuff. And that commercial didn't happen.
Yeah,
Funny enough, but that was the opening, because you kind of like, hey, you can be a stunt double, you can do this, and I'm like, I'm interested because when I used to watch movies, my only interest in watching movies is the action, the
yeah,
fights, the
yep,
driving, because I'm a driver too.
yep,
I've been in driving and stuff, and that's what and that was my how I admired the actors.
yeah,
Uh, See all of I'm thinking at the time like they're doing all that stuff. I'm like, how wow, I want to like I can do this. So my thinking like when you mentioned the movie business when I met you, I
yeah,
immediately thought I'm gonna be the actor who's doing the action, but I did
right,
not know this is stunt double.
right,
So
right.
uh when that they're like, oh, that's even better. I'm not gonna be even involved or seen, but I can do
Right.
it and just be my own. Because I've never been the guy who wants attention. I've always actually kind of like avoid it in a way, which
Yeah,
is I don't know. My wife always laugh at me. Is like, why? Like I would some people, which is weird enough, like they recognize you from a small part or something.
yeah,
And I'm not like I don't want to be rude or anything, but I'm always like, what's wrong? Like just talk, say something. I mean, they're talking to you, whatever. I mean, it's okay. So
yeah,
it's but that's but then the first job I got in the stunt business, the first stunt contract when I went to Hustle with Corners for doing the show in Las Vegas.
yep,
And as I went to see him, and he said, "Oh man, I wish you came last week because you could have actually doubled this guy for me. We had him doing a high fall from the buildings, and I can do high falls." And I said, "Who's that?" And he goes like Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I'm like, it was
uh,
funny because I'm like, dude, what am I gonna double him? Because like it seems like I missed him twice now, and I
right,
haven't
right,
because everybody tell me like I haven't even got one job as a stuntman, but people keep saying me, telling me, oh, you resemble him, you could like, and it never happened. I never doubled him. I never even worked with him. I
right,
heard good
right.
things about him actually, but it never happened. But it was funny how it started this way.
Yeah, yeah. And then also, I want people to know you weren't a trained actor, but you've done quite a bit of acting. I believe the Kingdom. I always go to the Kingdom because was that your
Yeah,
oh Iron Man was your first
no,
act?
Kingdom was the first acting spot that I got, and
It
it's actually
was
a decent spot. Like it was just thrown at me. I
yes,
actually I have to because I speak the Arabic language, so I actually have to write my own dialogue. And they
I remember you
really
said that.
trust me.
Yes,
They literally trust me. It's like just write something and whatever. And I had to teach some of the stunt players how to reply with me. I
right,
would coach them how to speak the language to work with me. And
right.
one thing about acting, I noticed honestly, like people always talk about. I'm not putting down training or like you have to train for anything and everything. But I think there's an actor who said one time, uh, somebody said it to me, and if I remember correctly, it was Ed O'Neill. I when I used to teach kickboxing, Ed used to come hang out at the coffee shop, and and he's like he's into fighting and stuff, so we used to hang out together
Yeah.
every morning. We just have coffee and between my sessions, and we'll talk about fight stuff. And it's always like the best way to learn to be a good actor is not to try to act.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it like normal. Like, and it comes out. Just don't try to act it or overact it. And I think that's what happened with the kingdom. And so I was just pretending like I'm just being in my own sway.
Yep. Yep.
And
You know that that was a problem for you because uh you were getting typecast. And I know you didn't want to encourage that. I'll let you elaborate, but
yeah, that's
you
because
you had
a
a
lot of
conflict.
huh?
You had a conflict portraying
Yeah.
those roles. So
Well,
elaborate on that.
a lot of actually directors and stunt coordinators always told me you should pursue acting. How come you're not pursuing acting? Actually, one of them was my biggest one. Like when I did the first Iron Man, I did
Yeah.
have some acting in it, and I actually did the same thing. Like just hey, come up with dialogue, and John Favreau walk up to me and say, hey, have you considered acting? I said no. It's like you should. You do good. Blah blah blah. And but I just I don't know like every calls I got for that or something was about just to play that stereotype of the terrorist
Right.
or the thug. And even as a stuntman, I've never got like a part that would I'm just somebody minding his business. I'm always like a
Right.
cartel, a drug dealer, a terrorist. Even when I play the cop, even when I play the cop, it was a corrupt cop. Like even the cop, it was the corrupt cop. It was never a good cop. I was told from Koreans like straightforward to me, like, hey, you're not clean cut enough to play
Right.
cops or something. It's like you're not in this. Just stick to what's making me the money.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I thought being a stuntman, I'm always hitting, always quick. I just didn't want to be the face of it. I didn't want to encourage. I did not want to encourage that stereotype
Sure.
because we yeah, I'm doing it, and getting paid, and I'm going, but it's actually for some people, it's actually hurting their lives.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, to be like looked at in a certain way because this is the screen that you see,
Right.
and that's what they were told. This is what you look like.
Right.
Yeah, I
Right.
just didn't. And I said, you know what? I don't want to do. That was one of the biggest reasons I just didn't like the acting part.
Yeah. A lot of black actors in the 60s and 70s, was always playing, the thug, the bad guy. And it was being typecast, and Italians, not so much. I mean, I've gotten, quite a bit of mafia or cop, cop killer. But it wasn't so much of I wouldn't say an insult, but it I understand where you were coming from because at that time, we're at a very delicate situation now
Yeah.
with how
Well,
it
it was even taken away from my talent because I can do a lot more than just couple saying screaming a couple words in the screen like where it is and get blown up or shot where it is.
yeah, yeah,
I'm like, and it like because I knew like hey I can do a lot more. I'm like a
yeah,
professional. I have a lot of talent.
yeah,
You know I don't want to just I could have made the money and walked away with it, but to me it's an art. I want to show my art,
yeah,
and like I am a fighter. This is my background, and I haven't done one or any major fight scenes through my whole career because it was never the look.
yeah,
It was never the
right,
look to be a fighter.
yeah,
To like they have certain looks for those are the fighter guys, those are the fight guys. Just I'm not taking anything from people talent. Yeah, there are talent stuff, but but they were bringing the people based on the look. You be here, they be there. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
so
But you definitely broke a lot of barriers because what I tell people when Hollywood was in California, the stunt business was like the mafia without the violence. It was very, very tight. So, you coming in, breaking barriers, and then the success that you gain, even now recently, you're in one of the biggest stunt groups, and that was recent, congratulations on that. Um, quite a bit of accomplishments. And yeah, I mean, we haven't even touched on the big shows that you worked on, the Marvel shows, but Sons of Anarchy, huge hit. You were the lead double for Juice, and still doubled him. So I mean, quite you know quite a bit of accomplishments for your business that was real brotherhood,
Yeah.
and even stunt driving, that's a click, but you've done quite a bit of stunt driving. You want to talk about any of those that you had to do?
Well, I invested a lot in my son driving because that's something I always liked about, and
Mhm.
I've always been a driver as a kid,
Right.
illegal driver, whatever you want to call it. But I had the talent and understood the cars and the motorcycles, and it's something I wanted to do. That I was always impressed the driving and the. So I put a lot of time into it. I got my own drive car, and I was just going to the track on my own and learning with big drivers and to get to this, and it paid off.
Yeah.
It paid off.
Yeah.
I would say most of my work now is driving stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, it's a good investment because if you think about it, like in our business is physical.
Yeah.
As you get old, the less even if you're even if, like I'm in great shape, like and
Yeah.
everybody can see me, and I don't even see a difference between when I was in my 30s or even 20s, like
Mm.
health wise. But the driving was a good long term to be in the business too, because
Yeah.
you can always be in a car and just drive.
Absolutely.
It's not like you're it's so that's one thing, like I need that's another thing I need to focus on
Yep. Yep.
uh, is actually to be a good driver, so this way I can actually make my career go longer.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people that were asked, that ask us about how do you become a stunt person. I tell them, get something that you are good at or want to be, and
Yeah,
invest all your time, all your money in pursuing that. You can't be a one trick wonder. You got to be able to have, all different abilities as
yes,
the inside, joke, but definitely specialized. Mine was aerial, which kind of got me recognized. And I still haven't done the job that I always wanted to, just like you with kickboxing. You never got that opportunity to really show what you specialize in. And it's sometimes it's frustrating, but you got to do a lot of work. And I know I had teased in the opening about the book of Boba Fett, and I know people are going to want to hear that, and because that's huge now. um want to talk about uh how you got that, and working with the actor, and some of your highlights on that?
it it was actually interesting how I got into it because they didn't even tell me what's going on or anything, but there was actually they had a double was set up for him. They
Yeah.
haven't stopped filming or anything, but they did have a double that was supposed to be his double.
Right.
And but the very first scene in the show, it was when he's in the tank, and it required somebody who was scuba certified.
Mhm.
So I got the call to do that scene in the tank
Yep.
because I matched the look. The we actually like well basically to them I matched the look, but when I showed up, they looked and was like, "Whoa, this guy's really good double for this guy."
Right.
So yeah, I went there, and funny enough, that tank never even worked because the tank kept leaking. So we ended up not even doing it. I mean,
Oh.
they just filled it with a little water, and they ended up CGI in the water because because just the tank kept leaking, or
Right, right.
it didn't function. But then when they saw me that day, then I got offered the job to uh, double. And
Wow.
then they showed me the first scene when you get pulled out of this tank, get thrown around, hit the ground, hard wood, and in his underwear. I actually looked when they showed me the previous. I'm like, maybe I don't know. Well, I don't know. I didn't say yes or no, and sure enough, the coroner, I called a friend of mine,
Right.
and he's like, hey. So as I'm driving, my friend called me. He's a secondary director of stunt coordinator. He called me and he said, hey, I told him you're gonna do it. I'm like, did they really call you? He was like, yeah. I was like, oh crap. Okay. So I go the next day and he's like, hey, he say you're doing it. So you're on. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have and I thought, like, you know what? I'm gonna eat the bullet and do that scene. At that point, I did not know it's Boba Fett. I knew it has something to do with Star Wars
Yeah.
because I did the Mandalorian before. And it
Right.
was
Right.
the same exact studio. So I'm like, okay, I'm maybe set season 2 for Mandalorian. They have, this fight scene with this actor where it is.
Uh,
And yeah, it took me about 2 or 3 months to finally one of the crew people came and asked me for an autograph for his son. And I was looking like, oh, what's going on? He's like, you don't know who you are? I'm like, no. And he's like, oh man, you need to go watch Star Wars and stuff.
right.
Like, what's it? What is this? Like, just go watch Star Wars. So I go and I watch the Mandalorian and Star Wars. I'm like, I don't get it. I still don't get
Sure.
it.
Sure.
So asking around and people were like, watch the older one, the older one. Like, can somebody just tell me? And it took a while, and then I finally figured it out. I was
Right.
kind of like, yeah. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a big deal,
Uh,
and
and
it
now,
went from there. Yeah,
yeah. And now you tour. You just got back from London. You go all over now signing autographs, and
yeah,
you've got your little Funko
yeah,
Dot. And
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be leaving actually. Uh, Tomorrow's Wednesday, Thursday. I'm leaving to Texas, Dallas for an event,
Yeah.
uh, and then I leave. I have one in Hollywood in the 27th,
Right.
July 27th, and I have one in what is it? I have it here in October 31st in Kansas.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah. You told me that you had one time 700 fans coming up to you
yeah,
signing things.
it wasn't like a line fans. It was
Right.
all most of it was online orders.
Yeah.
So I had this promoter who just did online promotion, and I went to Texas actually, and yeah, I was just sitting there for 2 days. It was all online orders, and it was up to seven. I think probably even a little more, honestly. Just stacks of stuff. I'm like, where are you getting this stuff? And he will go to his office. Like, oh, he comes and pull up pictures. More. Like people are
Wow.
like offering like more like 700 pictures there.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a huge franchise, huge following. I mean, that's hitting gold in our business. That's a huge thing.
yeah.
So that's pretty cool, man. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Yeah, it's a fun deal, man, and
Yeah, yeah. Dude,
it's fun.
you also have personal like they come up to you at what, Comic Cons and stuff like that, or is it?
Yeah. I've done like the one I'm doing next week, this week, and the one that all the other 3 ones I'm doing, and the one in London, I would just sit in an event, and
Yeah.
people would just come in, and the one in London was a huge one. Actually, I had a big like. uh Actually, it's funny because I took my wife with me, and they told us it was a misunderstanding. They say we'll be here like I think we leave 10, but
Mm,
I thought we'll meet at the lobby at 10.
right.
So we go down at 10. And I'm like, where's everybody? And apparently they're gone because there was a group of people. It was Jon Snow was there, and a bunch of other big actors were
Wow.
there, and they left. So I'm like, it's 10 o'clock, nobody's here. So we called the promoters like, oh, we left because we were supposed to be leaving at 10. I'm like, okay, I
Right.
missed it, guys. So it's like, okay, we'll send somebody for you to pick you up. And so I go, and by the time we got there, and it's this line, people waiting. And I felt bad, felt like an a-hole now. And I looked at my wife, like, no, it's okay, it's okay. This how like, no, 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 I don't like to play this game. I don't like to pretend like, oh, I'm there, like make people wait for me. And so I actually felt bad because it was a line and because I was late.
That was
But
so
it wasn't by on purpose. I missed the call where it is, and so yeah, it was kind of
wow.
interesting. But then like, oh, all these people are standing waiting for me. It's like,
Wow.
you know,
That's kind of cool, man. That's kind of
yeah.
cool. Not too many of us get to experience that, you know. That's definitely cool. Um Advice to people that come up to you or maybe somebody watching this. You know, I mean, like I said, the odds were totally against you. You're from another country. You're coming into Hollywood. You're breaking into the movie business. Um, so you're coming in virtually an unknown. You know, you always say, I got you in the business. I was like a quarterback. I had the football and I was like, here, that's the field. You got to run down the field. So you ran down the field, you hustled, you paid your dues, um, had the door shut on you many times. What did you learn from that that you could pass on to maybe somebody watching this that just is wants to go into acting or to stunt work?
Well, I think I was one of the lucky people. I think a lot of it has to do with luck for me. Like when you talk to me about it, I mean, yeah, I think you probably remember within 2 weeks, I got my SATCOM, which is, I don't even know.
Oh,
Literally my first call to do, like I sign up with this casting place. And the first call, I got my SATCOM. Then I'm like, I
11
remember talking,
years.
I remember talking to you and I
11
said, hey,
years.
yeah. I remember talking to you and I said, hey, this guy told me go join SAG and they wanted like 1,300, I think, or 1,200 at the time. I was like, I'm not paying this for a club. And he told me, are you kidding me? He was like, do you know how many people would want that chance? I'm like,
Oh,
so, and then you told me, said, I don't have the 1,200. And say, put it in your credit card, whereas do whatever you need to do, get that done now.
right.
I'm like, okay. So it's from somebody who didn't, but I think one thing that I did in my life that I credit myself is commitment
Yeah.
and dedication. Because being a fighter, you learn how to be disciplined, commit, and you finish the job.
Yeah.
And as soon we talked, the first thing with training I did was with you, the repelling thing.
Yeah.
And then I learned like you learn fight scenes. You have to learn how to fight with the cameras and angles. And I just put all my time into that. Same thing with driving. I
Yeah.
just committed. I got my car, I put money, I spend money, and I would just go to the track. It would be 104, 110 at the track. I'd be like, and I'm just there by myself, just throwing the car around and learning. I wasn't waiting for somebody to show me, like, I would just. So I think if somebody wanted to be in the business, you have to learn, you have to train. It's not daredevil. It's not let's just go and hope for the best. Because there's a lot of people they made it living just and they have we know a bunch of people like very small number. They have no talent, but they made it based on whatever look, whatever it is, and they
Right.
got this small parts. And you can, but if you want to be the best at something, or if you want to be known or advanced, you
Mhm.
have to put the time, the training, and commitment. And
Yeah.
that's what I did. I went and I just trained in everything that I can, anything, everything, and I just like I learned this, and I was committed every day.
Yeah.
Every day, I'm in my motorcycle to the gymnastic place,
Yep.
hustling. This like so that's what it's a like you said earlier, it's a tough business, a big competition. There's
Yeah.
too many people.
Yeah.
And to stand out, you have to just it's the training, commitment, you know.
Yeah. No doubt. Um, yeah, you've got to, I mean, we've lived it, we slept with it, we've woke up to it. The hustling that we did. The hustling is basically going to different movie sets. Now it's probably not permitted, but going to different, movie sets and speaking with the stunt coordinator, maybe get about 30 seconds, 2 minutes, Give him a headshot, sell yourself, move on. And
But hey, don't forget the part when you stand there for 2 hours hoping that he'll see you.
I
It's like,
remember
oh, he
you
looked
used
at
to
me.
get pissed
Yeah.
off.
Remember when you set me up at that set when I went in the middle of the night and I have to work the next day in the morning, and I made a joke and he wouldn't tell it to the coordinators and he just tried to make a bigger joke on me. Remember, he gave me the radio and he ran away. He's like, okay, run the show. And then I'm looking at you like,
Was
what would he
that
say?
was that Doug Coleman?
Yeah,
That was Doug.
Mickey Giacomazi and Doug. And
Yeah.
you like when I said I can just go grab that radio and say action and run the show and get it over with because we're
Right,
taking
right.
to. And
Yeah.
you went to Doug like, hey, he say he wants to run the show, and Doug, oh sure, here's the radio, and he walks away, and they
That's
disappear. They
great.
were hiding from us, and I'm
Yeah.
running around the set, and I had the radio in my hand, and they're talking to me. He's like, dude, and I'm looking at him like, why would you tell him that? It was a
Right,
joke
right.
between me and you. Why would you tell the guy? And finally, we caught him. I was like, and he's like, no, like take the radio, dude. I gotta go. It's fucking. It was like 2 in the morning. It was cold as fuck, and I have to
Yep,
work in the
yep.
days. And I'm like, but that's the stuff we went. We drove for hours and waited for
Yeah.
hours just to say, "How you doing, sir? Can I give you this?"
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
worked out. It paid off. It wasn't
Absolutely.
easy. Some of them
Yeah.
was kind of like, "My
Yep.
goodness, I'm sick and tired of this." But hey, it paid off. 22
Now
years, 23
you're
years.
living by
Now,
the beach. And I won't say how much is your multi-million-dollar house. I'm not going to mention it, but you did well for yourself. I'm only kidding. He lives in the projects.
yeah,
But
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 the
we
box at the beach.
you know, we came a long way, bro. You know, we came a long way. It wasn't, an easy, road. I mean, we all got our accomplishments that we are proud of, and you did good, bro. You did good,
Thank
man.
you. The best part about it wasn't even planned. It wasn't in the plan. Like when I met you,
Yeah,
that day. I was pretty much lost, honestly, because I was getting out of fighting. Fighting wasn't paying. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I'm getting this personal training. I don't have a personality to be a personal trainer. You know me. I'm like one
Right.
of those not so good with personality. Like I would probably want to slap people around more than just train. But
Yep.
and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going at that point. And then he come in and he's like, hey, you can do this. And at the beginning, it's like, what is this guy talking about? But oh, it's in the movie business. Like, and everybody, you tell anybody movie business, like their eyes, like, so I'm like,
Absolutely.
oh, I'm gonna get in the.
I remember
I don't
that
know
day
what it
like it
is, but
was
I'm getting.
yesterday.
Uh,
So if we ever get recognized at the Oscars and you happen to get an Oscar, just a little mention. Just a little mention.
I probably would not even show up.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. Great conversation, and I wish that we can do more. Zoom gives me about 40 minutes, and I'm just well, I got one more minute. Anything that you want to say in closing to, whatever?
No, I just want to say, I appreciate you bringing me in, and you know, it was a, I would say honestly, it's a life saving kind of for me. Like say, I was just out of it, and you just say, hey, this is the way, this is the door. If you open it, if you figure it out, I think you do good. And here we go, 22, 23 years after, you know.
Kidding me? How quick did that go? Great memories, a lot of t-shirts, a lot of caps, and that's basically it, and some cool footage to like pass on. So good job, bro.
Thank
We didn't do too bad in life.
you.
So
Yeah,
I appreciate the interview, and we'll be talking soon, bro.
great man. Thank you.
Peace out. Take it easy. So that concludes my interview with Eyad Elbitar. And if you want to look him up, go to IMDb and you see all of his credits and probably now recognize a lot of his work that you didn't know he was in. So keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. Take care, and thanks for watching.